Hello guys, before starting with the video I want to thank Pufferfish Host for sponsoring this video and providing the test server. So check it out because it's a great host. And let's start with the malware. The infected plugin I created is not reported by anyone on VirusTotal, which shows how untrustworthy VirusTotal is. To get a better view, let's look at the behavior of the plugin. That is, how it behaves on the VirtualBox of VirusTotal. Looking at the activity summary, we notice that there are some suspicious things. In the vast majority of cases, a plugin should not behave this way. For example, it should not be able to execute commands on the shell. There are very rare legit plugins that usually need this feature. Worse, it should not have access to systemd and thus be able to see active services and alter them. This part is usually legit, especially if a plugin tends to collect statistics, for example, platform like bstats. Now let's check the shell commands that the plugin would run on the VirtualBox. So as we can see, the plugin is running Java with an unknown input file. In this case, while running Java code with an unknown input file, the malware can execute arbitrary code on the system. This code can be used to steal data, install additional malwares, or perform other malicious actions. In this case, the plugin is running the fs_trim command. Although this command is a legitimate system command used to trim unused blocks on a file system, a malicious actor could use it to overwrite sensitive data on the disk, making it unrecoverable. The gzip command is a legitimate tool used to compress files, but a malicious actor, in this case a malware, could use it to compress and hide sensitive data on the system, making it more difficult to detect and remove. This is another suspicious command, the rsyslog, because it's a command to rotate the logs files, which can help manage disk space and improve performances. Okay, but a malicious actor could use it to delete or manipulate log files to cover dead tracks on their activities on the system. So we are talking about a plugin, and in this case a plugin should not be able or should not have access to these things. It's just a simple plugin, so this is very unusual for a plugin. And in summary, while each of these commands is a legitimate system command, in the context of a malware attack, for example this malware, they can be used to perform a variety of malicious actions on the target system. At the end, we can see that the plugin spawns in the temp directory of the server another file.jar and executes it. So these are all, these actions are all suspicious and usually, very usually, should not be run by any plugin on the market. We are now in our test server installed on root user. It is important to never install externally exposed services such as Minecraft server on any administrator user, especially root. The malicious plugin on root will give the hacker the ability to have direct access to all the commands and permissions on the machine. I put the plugin in the folder together with HoofMe, a fake plugin created with the purpose of which you will understand why later. Starting the test server, we notice that our infected plugin has started up and silently has already started the reverse shell process. So now we will go on and see the hacker POV. Now we are going to look at an hacker points of view and what they are able to do, especially when they have access to the root user. I have started the shell thanks to the infected jar, and now I am able to execute commands on the victim machine. We can flip through folders, and in this case my goal is to download the victim's database. The bogus Help Me plugin was created precisely to provide an example of how, by going to read plugin configuration files, the hacker can find the machine's database login credentials. In this case, we see the user, password, and IP address, and with the following command, I go and download in a .sql file the entire database of the victim. I then go and open it with another software to steal the data. As we can see, there is the Help Me database that contains password and IP address of the users that have played in the server. So this is just an example of how easy it really is, with just a few commands and a little effort, to do extensive damage to the victim's machine. We now go on and discuss some defense techniques. One of the most important things, besides not downloading cracked software, is to set outgoing connections on our firewall and restrict them, because a malware designed especially for reverse shell will generate an outgoing connection from our server to the hacker's machine. Docker is another option and can help us isolate individual servers from the rest of the operating system, so that active processes in the container will remain isolated. Inspecting the plugin code definitely turns out to be one of the most effective methods, since we can understand what the plugin actually does on the server by reading its code. MC Anti-Malware is another free software useful to constantly analyze the plugins within our server and detect possible threats. HIDS stands for Host-Based Intrusion Detection System. These are softwares that can monitor possible and suspicious activities on our server. An example of a useful software in this field is HostSec. Now we'll go on and see how, using Netstat, we can, in a simple but not guaranteed way, detect possible threats. With this command, we are going to grab the established connections of our machine. We can see that, excluding port 22 and localhost addresses, there is an established connection that might be suspicious in this case. Moving on, we try to identify the process related to that connection by trying to understand as much information as possible. We note that the process related to that connection, excluding SSH, came from an active Java process. Using ps-aux grep PID of the process, we observe further details about the process, where the source jar is allocated and the relative consumptions of the system resources. Subsequently, we may kill it if it is suspicious. This is a very simple option using Netstat to get a general picture, but it's not 100% reliable. Following the advice given in the video and always maintaining precautions will keep your server 100% safe. So, this is the end of the video. If you liked it, please leave a like and also a comment. Be safe.